Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1237B, and today's date is March 24th, 2017, and the title of the episode is America Has Become Number One Again, but It's Not What You Think. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, today was supposed to be the vote of the new healthcare system that was supposed to replace Obamacare. And when you look at Obamacare, we know that's a complete disaster. First of all, Obamacare is going to destroy itself. Secondly, what Paul Ryan was trying to push was complete garbage. And once again, I have to say, if you're going to push something on the people, make sure it's for the people. This is how you know it's really, really good and it's for the people. Everyone in Congress, everyone in government would want it. They would dump what they have and they would take what they're offering. But guess what? Once again, we can see what they were pushing was complete garbage. Now, we know that Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, yes, they're one and the same. That is complete garbage. We know that is destroying itself. Premiums are continually moving up. We see exchanges, they are going bankrupt. And more people are completely opting out of it. Now, what has to be done is someone needs to go in there without the insurance companies, and they really need to look at the situation and say, what can we do for the people that will benefit the people the most? And when we create this new bill, would we take it ourselves? And if it's that great, we should make it mandatory where government drops their own health insurance. That's when you know whatever they're pushing is okay. When they decide to take it themselves and drop whatever they have, that's how you know it's a great plan, because everyone up there in D.C., well, guess what? They have a great plan. They don't want to share it. They like what they got. That's why when Obamacare came out, the Affordable Care Act, they didn't want it. They exempted themselves. Now, America is number one again, but it's not what you think. We are number one for having the most expensive healthcare system. Yes, we are number one in that area, and there is no reason we need to be the most expensive healthcare system. We need to go to the root of the problem of why this is. Think about the pharmaceutical companies. Think about the food industry. Think about how all these industries, the insurance companies, have their hands in government, and how all of these individuals pass back and forth between all of this. So everything is being done not for the people, but for their own interests. This is our major problem in government today. I mean, look at the CDC, look at the big pharma. Look how these individuals move from the CDC to the head of the pharmaceutical company, from the pharmaceutical company becoming a representative in Congress, going back and forth. They're part of the problem. We need to clean house here. Yes, I'm calling it drain the swamp, but I've said this for a long time now. This should not be allowed. This is our problem. Insurance companies, well, they should not have a say on how the health care bill is created, because what they're doing is they're doing everything to benefit themselves, not the people. Why do you think premiums are going up? Because with this system that Obama created with the help of everyone else, they created a monopoly on the healthcare system. There's no competition. There's nothing, so they can continually raise premiums. And if people decide to take the penalty, they don't have enough people in the system to offset the cost of the older individuals. That's why they put the penalty there. It was done on purpose to bring everyone into their monopoly. But it didn't work, because people said, I can't afford that. I mean, I have 4 kids. I have a family of 6. I can't pay $2,200 a month and then pay for every single doctor visit. And Paul Ryan's bill wasn't any better. It was Obamacare rewrapped into something else. But it's the same piece of garbage. So what has happened today? The House Republicans, they had to withdraw the health care bill. Now, I was listening to all these different representatives come up and give their reasons of why, Obamacare is great, why Trump care is great. That's what they were calling it. And I was listening to all of this, how everyone was patting themselves on the back. And actually, it was making me feel completely disgusted about the entire system because nobody was really getting to the heart of the issue and who this was supposed to be for. And this was supposed to be for the people. This was supposed to be a benefit for the people to make it easier for people, not just one class of people, but everyone. That was the whole purpose of it. It wasn't to be, oh, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, look at me, I passed this, this is great. And it's amazing how people can talk about it when they've never experienced the Affordable Care Act, or they never experienced the new one, but everyone's telling you all these different things, and you can tell that they've never experienced it before. They have never purchased it before. They've never had to pay the penalty before. They don't understand when you receive the notice, it's a separate notice from the IRS. When you go to purchase Obamacare, how expensive it is, and how the middle class everyday American can't afford it and can't pay for the deductible. They didn't get to the heart of the issue. I mean, yes, they're going to a certain class of people, then they're going to a different class of people, but they're never really saying, well, you know something, this really hasn't worked out. Half of the exchanges have gone bankrupt. We spent billions and billions of dollars. We decided to exempt ourselves because we knew this was crap. And we can see right now premiums are going up. I mean, 25% in this state, 50% in that state, 100% in that state. And this new insurance bill was rushed through just to repeal Obamacare. Really? That's what we're doing today? All these individuals should be thrown out. And anything that Congress pushes through, even the president, they need to take it on themselves. If they can't do that, we the people do not want it. We see Trump has won an important victory as a Virginia judge refused to block his revised travel ban. We see right now U.S. District Judge Anthony Trenga denied a request from a Muslim activist for a temporary restraining order, and it looks like this new executive order actually was able to beat the individuals who are trying to stop it. Now, again, this is not a Muslim ban. I know they're trying to create this picture that it is, but it really isn't. We see out in the surveillance realm with Nunes and Schiff, Pelosi, and the rest, we can see that things are starting to really heat up right now. General McInerney says that Obama was heavily listening to what was going on in the Trump campaign. He believes when all the evidence comes out, he said, Obama will rue the day he decided to spy on Trump. Moreover, he said, the Democrats are chimping out and fabricating a Russian spy novel in order to avoid Trump investigating the Clinton server and how both Hillary and Obama violated the Espionage Act, a crime punishable by heavy fines and up to 10 years in prison. Now, Nunes is out there, and he wants to know were any other American names unmasked, just like General Flynn. And he has information that says they were. Nunes said, the information that he's seen so far bothers me, and he thought it was important to brief President Trump on what he learned. And he said this has nothing to do with Russia at all. Now, Nunes called Comey and Rogers for a closed session meeting after finding concerning information in the intel reports. Now, once again, we don't know exactly what is being said in this meeting, but it must have been very damaging because he wouldn't have called them in. And we also see that Mr. Manafort, Paul Manafort, he has volunteered to testify before the House Intelligence Committee on his alleged connections to Russia. And they're bringing him in to show that this whole thing is completely fake, phony, and false. Meanwhile, we see the Washington Post. Well, it looks like they're getting a little nervous. The deep state's getting a little nervous. And they quickly called for an immediate investigation into Nunes' behavior. And we can see already, this shows us that they're very nervous and they're afraid of what is going to come out. And we have to go back to Trey Gowdy, who put Comey on the spot to say, listen, there was a crime that happened. You know the list of individuals that had the ability to unmask these people, and you are doing nothing. And he even had Comey admit that, yes, this was against the law. The law was created so this wouldn't happen, and if it did happen, people would be sent to prison. He put him in the on the spot, and he backed him into a corner. And here we have Nunes calling them in because of what he discovered in the intel report, and it must be really damaging. Now, for a long time, we know that the deep state, they have been trying to silence the free media, the alternative media. I like the word free media. This is what Cliff High is calling it. And they've been trying to shut these different channels down. I mean, we can see what happened to Natural News. They kind of got rid of the entire website until Mike Adams complained, other people complained, and they had to bring it back up. And that was quite drastic because they really couldn't come up with a reason of why they brought it down. And they also tried, the whole fake news route, which completely backfired on them. And they've been trying many different things. Now, Cliff High came out with a interesting video, and a lot of us on the free media, the alternative media on YouTube, have been realizing that the view counts and the subscribers, subscribers have been deleted, and the only way to come back is to subscribe and then also hit the bell to say that you would like to you would like to get all the notifications from the channel. So if you have been removed, I am not removing anyone from the channel whatsoever. I would go subscribe again to my channels and hit the bell to say, yes, you want all notification. It looks like they put that little hiccup in there to try to remove subscribers. We also know that they are been pushing the channels down so they don't show up in certain search results. Now, Google and YouTube say, well, this is not censoring. We just want the best information out there. And even if you get views or people like your stuff and we don't agree with it, we're going to push it down in the search engine. Now, they do this very slowly by tweaking their algorithms and making sure that the videos and the channels don't show up. And we can see this has started already. There's many individuals that are complaining and saying that, yes, something has completely changed. And we can see that they're trying this as their next move. Now, former attorney for George W. Bush, Richard Painter, he's saying that all alt-right websites, well, they're guilty of treason. And he is the former ethics attorney for Bush. And he made a reference to an article which said that the FBI was investigating right-wing websites, like InfoWars and Breitbart and the rest. And they're saying that, we need to investigate all these different sites. Now, what happens in a movement where individuals are trying to tell the truth, well, they need to get rid of those sites. And they need to hide those sites so the lies can stay out there. They don't want people to hear any other type of information, to make a comparison and to think on their own. Now, everything I'm saying, I don't want you to believe everything. I want you to go to the corporate media. I want you to go to other channels. You go ahead. Listen to what everyone has to say and make up your own mind. Do research on your own to figure out what's going on here. I'm just a voice in the wind. I'm a nobody. I'm just trying to get the information out to everyone. And everyone needs to look and, decipher what is going on their own by doing research. I mean, I do it myself. Even though I'm reporting on a lot of the stuff, I listen to many different things and I put all the pieces together and go, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And when you hear something, you have to question it. Wait, does that make any sense, what they're saying? So we can see already they're making their move. So if you have been unsubscribed, not just from my channel, but anyone's channel, doesn't have to be the alternative media. They're doing it to a lot of different YouTube sites. If you have been unsubscribed, these people aren't doing it themselves. It's coming from their new algorithm. Go ahead, subscribe back, hit the bell, and make sure that you're getting the notifications. Now, we see that Putin and LePenn, they have met, and Marine Le Pen said if she wins the elections, she is going to move very quickly to lift the Russian sanctions. We also see that Putin has said that he vows not to influence the French elections in any way. And we can see right now that Putin was saying it sarcastically. He was commenting on the ongoing allegations that Russia is behind the final outcome of Western elections in the past year. And let's not be foolish about this. We know that countries do interfere in elections. I mean, the United States has interfered in 81 different countries where they tried to push the outcome in their favor. And in some areas, they've had regime change. Russia has done this in 31 countries. But in this instance, well, it hasn't been done. And I don't think Russia is going to do it in France because there are too many eyes looking at the elections right now. They would be foolish to actually even try, and I don't think they're really interested in doing this at this point anyhow. We see the sanctions on North Korea, well, it's taking their toll because it's hindering food aid into North Korea. And a lot of individuals in North Korea, well, they're facing the problems of going hungry. And the UN is warning that about 41% of the population is undernourished right now at this point. And young children are suffering. And we've seen this in many different countries where there are sanctions that the United States is, placing on these countries where it really has a devastating effect on the actual people of the country. Now, North Korea, the North Korean embassy in Russia, said that North Korea sent a letter to UN Secretary General about the situation on the Korean Peninsula. And they're talking about the U.S. South Korean military drills, where they're saying there's a lot of equipment, a lot of troops, and the whole thing is called Foul Eagle, military exercises. And they're saying that this is pushing and provoking North Korea on purpose. And the Chinese representative warned that the maneuvers would lead to further escalation of the situation with North Korea. And they're just letting everyone know that something's going on here and they're provoking. And if something should come out of this, this is the reason. Does it mean that North Korea is going to attack? No, but we have heard that this was a training exercise to remove the leader of North Korea. We see the Supreme Allied Commander, Europe of the NATO Allied Command Operations, U.S. General Curtis Scaparrotti, said that Russia is supplying weapons to the Taliban and supporting them in Afghanistan again. Now, Russia came out and said, this is absolutely ridiculous. Can you please show us the evidence that you have? Back up your claims with evidence. And every time Russia comes out and tells the United States to back up their claims with evidence, this is where it always falls apart. Now, we see that the safe zone agenda is back in the picture, but they're calling it something different now. We went from no-fly zone to safe zone. Now they're calling it zones of stability. And the United States right now has announced plans to create a so-called zone of stability in Syria and Iraq, where they're going to keep the refugees safe. Now, once again, if they're actually going to create these zones of stability, this needs to be coordinated with Iraq, their government. It needs to be coordinated with the Syrian government and Russia. And we have to see how this is going to be created. Because if it's just the United States creating these zones where the United States is basically dividing the country and saying this is a zone where you're not allowed to enter to the Syrian government and to Russia, and the United States and the coalition forces are guarding it, they are now splitting up Syria or using these areas as a jump point to get into Damascus. So we can see already at this time they are now pushing these zones of stability. Now, this was in the original plan to create safe zones, and they were going to be used as a launching pad to get into Damascus. Now, to create these zones, they wanted to have a no-fly zone, which means the only way you create a no-fly zone is to go in and destroy the airports and the planes around the country. Now, are they going to be able to do this? Most likely not. So we're going to have to see how this plays out, but this was part of the plan all along, and it looks like they're moving forward with this. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.